Hello YouTubers, this is a noobifier. I really like tech and gear, especially if it's new and if it includes a fresh take on an established market segment. It's exciting to see what creative new features may be offered by that new entry, and it's exciting to see what creative new features may be offered by a brand new ecosystem. The Logitech Pro wheel and pedals have been released for a short time, but this means that we've had some time to get to know them. I more clearly understand what they are because I've had a lot of time with them. A refresh of a design allows the design team to do a little bit of window shopping, and this is where great ideas might get added into that new ecosystem. We, the consumers, always win when a product evolves. I've been heavily focused in sim behind the scenes for 6 years, and I've had more time now that I'm retired from the military. Along with Star Citizen content, I also operate noobifier 2, a second channel more directly in tune with live streaming and sim. Logitech offered to let me play with, test, and review their brand new Pro wheel and Pro pedals. noobifier 2 is where you'll see me drive and test in a series called Zero to Hero. I show a new driver the ropes and get some lap times set. You can get involved and challenge these lap times to show our community what you're made of. For testing, Logitech had sent me an Xbox and a PlayStation set. If you usually play on PC, both will work perfectly fine for you. But if you play on PC, I would suggest that you choose the Xbox version if you have a choice. It works with PC, Xbox, and PlayStation. The PlayStation version works with PC and PlayStation only. Make sure that you get the right product so that you can avoid future frustration. We're going to be looking at the Logitech McLaren G Challenge series in the very near future. This is a sim series hosted by Logitech, and it's in Assetto Corsa Competition. It deserves its own video to fully explain, but I'm going to quickly say that there are some challenging competitions, plus a serious prize pool up for grabs, good races, and great fun. For those of you who have seen my videos, you know I tend to focus on how a product is named. Logitech has decided to launch their direct drive ecosystem with the word Pro. Pro is there in the name and it's in the price as well. The Pro project wanted to add the usual modifications that we would normally add later into the stock parts. These are magnetic shifters, adjustable spacing, a load cell right out of the box. Reviewers and marketing material always talk about maximum torque. Just like how describing an engine with horsepower alone to evaluate a wheelbase, you need to consider how the software uses the torque. Don't just brush this number off though, because even if you don't ever plan on using the maximum torque, it really does matter. For example, let's say you're maintaining a long curve and the base is holding a sustained 3 Newton meters. You might say there's no need for a stronger motor, that any extra would be a waste or would never be needed. In this example, if the motor could only output 4, then the base is close to saturation and it will never be able to give you any texture. It wouldn't have any headroom to hold the 4 and then snap to 11 for a split second, over and over, to give you that road feel. Torque is not minor and it really does change your experience. A lower torque base will try to provide you the snap when riding a rumble strip or the rough carousel surface on the Nürburgring. It will try to give you the texture, but it'll fall short compared to a stronger, more able base. So bigger numbers equal better feeling in general, and this comes with a larger motor and higher costs. Its competitor, the CSL-DD, is rated at 5 or 8 if you opt for the booster pack. In testing the Pro base with its higher 11 Newton maximum, it was apparent and it did provide a better experience. And then imagine in the future when they offer larger diameter wheels, those extra 3 Newtons will actually matter more. I'm going to set the price right away at $1,000 for the Pro Direct Drive and a leather wheel, plus $350 for the pedals. It's quite similar in price when you compare it to others in the market, so how does it fit and what does it offer differently? The one most will compare it to is the CSL-DD with a boost, which is $500 US. This is an 8 Newton wheelbase. Then you need to add a rim, and to be comparable in wheel quality, you're looking at adding another $400. The metal QR disconnect is an optional $150, and then you have a desk clamp, which is another extra. I'm not bashing either product, just pointing out that they're actually quite comparable in price. Value for dollar can always be superior if the product performs and lives up to your expectations operating for years to come. Logitech is no rookie in the gaming market with a rich lineage of G-branded accessories. They support esport teams, and being such a large company, things like design, testing, and customer support are never going to be an issue. Products and support are easy to find, unlike smaller companies. They're available from big box stores and major online retailers. My personal history with Logitech goes back as far as I can remember. Despite trying some other brands here and there over the years, my keyboard and mice are and will always remain Logitech. I was very happy to see the wheel software included in the G Suite because I already have that on all of my devices. This consolidation of software is a big bonus, especially if you're new to sim. The Pro does not replace the updated G923, but instead it offers a different price point of entry with more Pro features and a more Pro experience. I'm going to quickly talk about its biggest feature, and that is direct drive. There are two main ways to make a force feedback wheel: belt drive and direct drive. They aim to do the same thing, and that's to provide the user a simulated force transferred through the rim. Road feel like what you'd get from a real car, resistance at various speeds, feedback below, at, and above the grip limit, vibrations from the engine and the road, nicks and knocks when mounting a rumble strip, the texture of the total feedback experience. The right feeling on time does so much to improve immersion. In many situations, you're able to achieve a real competitive advantage if the wheel can deliver. Belt drive systems were the industry standard until more recently and are slowly becoming unfashionable as direct drive becomes more common. Belt drive connects an electric motor with some form of gearbox using a belt. The parts work together to move the wheel. Direct drive is different because the wheel is attached directly to the motor, eliminating the gearbox. When this is done right, you get better feedback, reduced lag, reduced free play, and it's easier to generate force when needed. Direct drive, as I said, are becoming more common and are generally seen as a better design for the purpose. Unboxings on my channel are approached such that if the box protects the product during shipping, that it's done its job. Logitech ships in a boxed box. The outer box had some damage and the inner box was mint, so the packaging gets a gold star. There was a bigger than usual smile on my face when I opened the crate up. They put an above average effort into your unboxing experience. Everything is presented nicely. The cardboard and protective foam is jet black. The quick start guide is right there on a removable board. The online manual was easy to find and crafted in such a way to be easy to understand. They offer a drill out guide if you plan to make adjustments to your sim base. The wheel is bagged separately and it's the first thing that you remove. The wheel base is also in a protective bag. It takes 2 hands to remove as it's very solid and heavy. Aesthetically, it looks pretty sharp with fun design cues. It's physically shorter but wider than others, and it achieves a light angle when resting on a table. That extra width helps with stability, and there are 2 tabs below to help line up on the table. These tabs are not removable. The mesh front and rear allow for active cooling, and it never got above inaudible during testing. After playing when I turn the PC off, the base automatically goes to sleep, and a single push of the power button wakes it up, with no need for push and hold. The underside has metric bolt holes that attach to any sim system. You can remove the plug on the front of the base and use the included table clamp. It's plastic, but it'll get the job done mainly because of the shape of the base, and I'm sure it's capable of dealing with whatever you're about to subject it to. There's a small OLED screen centrally located in your field of view, and it has a dedicated menu button along the top front right side. Despite being very tiny, it provides information on how the unit is performing. One page has a bar graph to visualize what the controls are doing. One is a simple numeric value that reads out in real time how much force you're receiving at any moment. Both of these are great tools to help with tuning. This screen really shines though, as it'll let you adjust the profile without having to Alt-Tab during a game to make minor tweaks on the fly. If you're on PC, the best experience though is still tuning with the dedicated tuning screen as part of the G Hub. On the wheel base above the OLED screen is a set of shift lights. These can be configured left to right to left, from the middle or towards the middle. This is your standard green to red to blue line that you expect to see, and this can also be dimmed to suit the situation. The base includes a very strong 300-watt external power pack, and everything is connected by a braided micro USB to USB-A. It does somewhat boggle my mind in 2023 that we're still using micro USB instead of USB Type-C. It was very nice though that the included cable has a corresponding shape that will help line everything up. My unit performed without any issue, so the choice of plug really has no bearing on the experience. The base includes a super nice feature, which is a triple USB hub embedded into the rear. You can consolidate your pedals, your shifters, and your handbrakes. It has ports to grow the new ecosystem in the future, and I was even able to fully power a Stream Deck from it, simplifying all of my wires into one. The wheel is on a quick disconnect, and they say in the business, we didn't put a quick disconnect on the wheel for just one wheel. This is great news, as currently the only option is the included leather wheel, which is fine for now. In the future, I would like to see the release of a fully checked out replica Formula 1 wheel, a figure 8 bow-shaped GT3 wheel, a larger R325 round GT3 wheel, and a very big R350 for NASCAR or drift. The included wheel truly exceeded my expectations as a kit wheel. It's solid, has tactile buttons which are easy to reach, magnetic shifters, analog paddles, rotary dials, a joystick, and a great flattened out bottom shape. It's actually a really nice wheel, and this design was the ideal choice to be included with the kit. It's a great general wheel that's usable in any game title. On the included wheel for Xbox, you have XYAB across the top. There's a left and right trigger, an 8-way joystick that's basically a D-pad. Centrally located, you have a main Xbox button. On the left side, you have a side-mounted encoder with a push, and that could be used with your thumb, a page button, and a left stick button. On the right is a flat-mounted dial encoder with push, a menu button, and a right stick button. There's a magnetic shifter on each side, plus an analog paddle on each side. 23 bindings, 2 axes. The PlayStation wheel has the same loadout and quantity of buttons, but it has the familiar square, triangle, X, and O. It's marked with PlayStation brandings and other slight variations, but the function is identical. 23 bindings, 2 axes. The magnetic shifter is appropriate for an all-around wheel. It requires medium force to action. It has a medium click with a light tactile feedback. It has a generous travel distance, and the size makes it very easy to use with a wide range of hand positions. Compared to some others, there is a less clicky feedback than I'm used to. The shifter feeling, although great here on this type of wheel, should not be copied over to a GT or a Formula wheel. Short, snappy, and clicky is what I would prefer to see incorporated into a wheel with a pure racing focus. The analog paddles are super useful and can be configured to duplicate your pedals. You can set them to be gas or brake, which will help for really long races. You can set a bite point clutch to gain an advantage on grid starting. You can set one to be your handbrake if you're starting out and don't have that as part of your setup. The wheel is an R300, smaller than a standard car, but common in motorsports. The smaller wheels will let the wheelbase perform stronger in the hand. It has a great leather covering, an ornate understated stitching, and a muted center guide. Button caps are labeled the way they would be on a game controller without any sort of customization options, and it's a shame that they didn't decide to do an optional button cap set. I got creative with a label maker, and I'm investigating a more professional looking marking solution. The Pro wheel included with the Pro kit is polished, well constructed, is of a high quality, and will take mild abuse for years and years. It's exactly what many would choose to use most of the time. The metal quick disconnect has no give or flex. The electronic connection is protected and designed to be much more resilient than its competitors. The slip collar closes with a nice click and comes off one-handed. Moving on to the pedals are shipped in their own box and sold separate from this kit. A similar grade unboxing with the same care for shipping protection. I was expecting a load cell, but I wasn't expecting a lot of the extra details. A load cell is common in higher-end brake pedals for sim gear. It operates by sensing the force applied rather than the distance traveled. A load cell feels like a brake on a car. A non-springy feeling, and most importantly, included, they have all of the wide range of tuning options in the form of swappable components. Included is great because you won't take delivery of your new gear just to realize that you want to tune it, only to have to go online, research, and then figure out that you need to order and wait for more parts. Just include it, which is a great idea. If you want a light or heavy feeling, you may want a shorter travel, you can tune to achieve this as good as any other set. The required force can be adjusted in the menu all the way up to 100 kilograms, and a load cell is a durable sensor that should operate for a lifetime without degrading. As far as I can tell, the gas and clutch are mechanically the same pedal with different springs. You have a total of 4 springs included with the kit at different spring rates. The pedals are solid and have a very nice feeling. Some high-end pedal sets incorporate a cam system to recreate that tension drop-off that you might get from a clutch. The Pro pedal did not add this, so the clutch lacks the feeling that you might get in a real car. It's not a deal breaker, and overall I'm very happy with the quality. Below the pedal unit, there's a clear ruler, so you can quickly adjust the spacing between configurations. There's a small cavity for wire management and an anti-tug system. The pedals have a solid base, a plastic heel rest with a grippy linear pattern. Despite driving with shoes, the plastic shows no real signs of wear. I suppose they could have put more metal into the design, but it never changed my experience once I started to play. They did exactly what I expected from a pedal set in this price range: solid, accurate, tunable, and adjustable. The software has some quirks that we should discuss. There are features that I want to highlight, and then I'm going to render a detailed impression. The main keynote feature that Logitech has been working on is called TrueForce. TrueForce Pro is broken down into 2 parts, with processing being the first. Processing with TrueForce was said to be directly connected to the game physics engine. This is said to reduce lag and increase the polling rate. Logitech explained that because the game already calculates all of the physics, they wanted to tap directly into that wherever possible, instead of running another process to calculate the feedback. I have no way to quantify the claims, but in my testing, there is definitely a snappy and accurate force feedback experience with Pro. Haptics is the second. By leveraging game audio, they wanted to increase haptics in a new way. The easiest way to describe this is that they installed a small transducer in the wheelbase. The engine vibration, a tire hitting a rumble strip, and other sound cues can be felt very strongly in the wheel and somewhat also in whatever the wheel is connected to. If you turn this feature up, it becomes stronger, but it also becomes audible. This becomes distracting if you're not wearing a headset or if your speakers are not set to overwhelm the sound. Both of my motion systems eliminate the need for bass transducers through the actuators, and I found in testing I actually preferred to have this haptic cue turned off. This would be a great feature for you to test and use, specifically if you're mounted to a table or if you're mounted to a play seat with no dedicated transducers. The tuning is all done within G-Hub. I didn't even need to download anything new because I already have this software installed for my mice and keyboards. Everything is there in one place, and as soon as the PC detected the Pro Wheel, it triggered a firmware download. You can adjust the strength, the filter, the dampener, the steering angle, required braking force, what each paddle will do, the clutch bite point, and the intensity of that TrueForce haptic. You can also tune the shift lights and change what information you see on the OLED screen. In the software, you can rename your profiles to correspond to the games that you play. And then because you've done all of that, you can change the profiles on the fly using the OLED screen, and you're able to change what the individual tune of the profile is. When you adjust on the wheel in the game, your changes are remembered until you tune them again. After testing for hours to see what the wheel would have to offer, would you believe that I've mostly been clicking auto-tune? Something that you might like to consider before investing a bunch of your own time in tuning. When racing, it was great to be able to quickly add or subtract some brake force or wheel strength on the fly without stopping the race. So it's time for my thoughts in a conclusion, and I would like to thank you now for being with me till the end. If you enjoy my reviews and find value in them, please don't hesitate to share them wherever they would be on topic. Don't hesitate to add your comments or questions in the video. The sim community loves their gear and they vigorously defend their favorite brands. To some, SimCube, Fanatec, Moza are the best and all others are simply garbage. I've invested heavily into Sim because I love it, and I do have my own favorites. As I continue to test and see what's out there, I know that there's a lot more than black and white. I review with objectivity, and despite opinions in Reddit, Discord, and Facebook, there is greatness and value at all price points. I'm going to say that I had higher expectations when I saw that Logitech released a direct drive at the $1,000 price point. I have my own full set of Fanatec gear, but you'll notice in future streams and content that I'm not in any sort of rush to switch back to them. The Logitech G Pro that's mounted to each motion system will continue to be tested and enjoyed by myself and my guests. As more and more people come over to play, the feedback is the same. Pro did it right and it provides a great experience. Actual plug-and-play is refreshing. Force feedback is seamless and accurate. The transition away from the center has no dead zone, and the force profile doesn't feel simulated. Rather than just vibrating or jiggling, Pro offers refinement in what I'm provided. Ultra-fine changes, micro-road texture is refined, but also capable of drifting at full opposite lock. I'm happy to say it's really good. There's one negative in the entire system, and that's not knowing how long we might need to wait before we can expand beyond the included wheel. We need to add a high-end Pro shifter, we need to add a high-end Pro handbrake, and sooner would be better than later, especially considering what other companies are doing. Thank you very much for spending your time with me. This is definitely not the last time you'll be seeing Logitech G Pro on the channel, and I'm happy to say that it's a great start to a new ecosystem. Drive safe.